All right. So today we have a Q&A session. Your question 3. Oh, your question 3 is totally out. Because again, this is totally your wrong understanding already, this one. And let us straighten these things up. The term Hiri Ottapa often translated as shame and dread in meditative aspect. Hiri, shame, is really an unwholesome mental state of unarisen mental thought being projected as feelings form a possible act. While Ottapa, dread, the memory recollection of the past action brings a feeling of remorse and guilt. This guilty, remorseful feeling that has occurred needs to be dealt with to remove towards one's meditation, for it blocks sati from being present or sustained. Appreciate your clarification and further insight on this matter, for it brings deeper answers to arising questions within the sitting when attention is placed on contemplate, on investigating, on characteristics of this definition and their implications. Okay. No. First of all, this whole paragraph is totally wrong. Yeah, it's all this whole totally wrong. It's totally wrong. You don't know what you are writing. Wrong in the sense that Hiri and Ottapa is not an unwholesome mental state or unwholesome mental states. Hiri and Ottapa is a wholesome mental state. Xiao or unwholesome mental state. That's why sometimes all your thinking and all that becomes all mixed up. And if you go give a Dhamma talk to people and you tell people that Hiri Ottapa is something unwholesome, and the way that you describe these things, and those people may believe you, then a lot of time mind get distorted. Unwholesome karma, this one, sorry to say. So be careful these things. Now, Hiri Ottapa, it's called a moral shame. Moral shame and Ottapa is a moral dread, not in the English sense of it, because it's hard for us to translate the word Hiri Ottapa. It's more like Hiri is more like a conscience, a moral conscience in us. A moral conscience is in us. That means when there is, for example, when there is an unwholesome thing to be done. For example, there is a thing there, money on the table, for example, and you want to steal it, but your conscience says that, better don't do it. You hold back. That is what we call Hiri. It's called Hiri, a moral shame, as a conscience, as you pull the mind back from performing that unwholesome act. That's called a Hiri. You want to speak something angry towards somebody, then your conscience, my words are not good, Then with that conscience, it holds back from you to open up our mouth. For many of us, we can keep our 5 precepts, but we cannot watch that mouth. Sometimes, such a wonderful, but then it comes into opening their mouth. Even Buddhist devotees are terrible. Very ugly, sometimes the words. They thought that just keep the 5 precepts, okay, enough already, you can go heaven already, but forget about the words and thoughts sometimes. So here, Hiri here is a wholesome mental state that it prevents yourself from performing an unwholesome deed. It's a wholesome mental state. It's not unwholesome, it's a wholesome. Ottapa, or moral dread. Moral dread here, it means it's not a recollection of the past action that give you remorse and guilt. This Ottapa is you aware of the consequences or the vipaka Yeah. You're aware of its vipaka. You're aware of its consequence or the resultant. That, for example, if you prevent, for example, if let's say Ottapa become more prominent, and these two comes together, they come together. Sometimes Ottapa becomes more prominent than Hiri. For example, the money is on the table. Then the thought came in, if I were to steal these things, if I were to get caught by them, then it will not be good for me. You know, you're aware of its consequences. You're aware of its vipaka. One, Hiri is talking about karma, and Ottapa is connected with its vipaka. So when you have Hiri Ottapa, because they come together, then it prevents you from doing unwholesome action, speech, or this one. If you want to have feeling of remorse and guilt, like what you say here, then it's called ahiri and anottapa, with the A on the hiri, ahiri. Ahiri, and anottapa is anottappa. That is the unwholesome mental state, which is completely the opposite, and then they don't care, don't bother, no conscience, they kill, they steal, they take whatever, they speak whatever, however they want it. Then later on in the future, they will have remorse and they will have guilt. Yeah. So this is totally, completely wrong. Your this one is completely wrong. It's not about being remorseful. It's to prevent yourself from being remorseful. So because of that, everything cannot be this one. And morality, you need all this morality in the sense of Hiri and Ottapa. Then only you can able to do the proper practice. If your precepts, if your basic precept, you cannot handle it, you cannot do this one, then it's impossible, it's going to be difficult for you to develop anything with mindfulness or any mental this one. So they are like that. So you need that Hiri Ottapa. So please, your all this Hiri, your understanding of Hiri Ottapa, you better throw it out far away. Okay.